Here go Bernie eyeing for reparation Sanders, striking again with more dumb shit. Okay? Bernie Sanders and the Democrats cannot win the election without the black community. It's a fact. And I've covered that time and time again. They need in excess of 80% of the black vote to even smell the White House. It's not going to happen without us. So when Bernie Sanders keeps coming out with more and more dumb shit, he's only making it harder on himself and the Democrats to win the election. But we all know that Bernie Sanders is nothing more than an opportunist. I've covered that before. You know, people say, oh, well, he marched with Dr. King. Yeah, he marched with Dr. King. But we know if we study the fake Jews and the Jewish history in America, that they took advantage of Dr. King. They took advantage of Dr. King's kindness. They took advantage of Dr. King's altruism. And they used him for their own selfish and political advances. Bernie Sanders was not there for black people. He was there for himself and for his own political platform. And now look at the Jews. They own league franchises. They own businesses. They have wealth. And are they helping us in our community? Fuck no. Meanwhile, all black people got was social integration. That's all we fucking got. That's why we got to quit fucking caping for other groups. We got to quit marching for rights for other groups that are here to replace us. You know, when I see shit like people climbing the Statue of Liberty for these illegals, for the illegal immigrants that are here to replace us, we got to stop doing that shit. We got to stand for ADOS issues and black issues first. Fuck everybody else. Because when everybody else comes over here and gets shit, they forget about us. So we know who Bernie Sanders is and what he represents. But I found an article that I'm going to post in the description box. The title of the article is Bernie Sanders says it would be silly to promise person of color as running mate right now. So during the interview, he was interviewed by ABS. Okay? So this is during an interview that the article is based on. He was asked if he would nominate a woman as his running mate. And we all know what they mean by women, that when they say women and women's rights and shit like that, they're talking about white women. They're not talking about black women and all women of color and all women of different ethnic groups. They're just talking about white women. So when they say if you're going to nominate women for elected offices or women's rights, that is synonymous with white women. So when the interviewer asked Bernie Sanders, would he nominate a woman as his running mate, he said that he would give it serious consideration. But when he was asked if he would nominate a person of color, here's what Bernie Sanders said, and I quote, "I think it's premature," Sanders said, after a pause of several seconds. "It would be silly to make that statement right now." That's what Bernie Sanders said. And I'm going to skip down in the article. Okay. Sanders did not think it was silly to say he would like to select a woman as his running mate at this point. Why he thinks it's silly to answer the same question regarding a person of color is a question for another interview. And I hope they ask him. So like I said, Bernie Sanders obviously gets uncomfortable when he's asked about issues specific to the black community. When he was asked about reparations, he played like he didn't know what the fuck it was. But if you don't recall, he supported legislation for reparations for his people, for Holocaust victims and their heirs. So he knows what reparations are. All right? So he doesn't have a black agenda. He doesn't care about the black community. He doesn't support reparations. He doesn't support a person of color as his running mate, even though we had a black president, and I'm not a big fan of Barack Obama. In 2019, he still doesn't support a black or a person of color as his running mate. So that should tell you something about Bernie Sanders. He doesn't care about black people. He doesn't give a fuck about you. I don't care how much he talks about him being a socialist or a democratic socialist. Socialism means that everything's free for everybody. And I don't agree with that shit. Because everybody didn't build America. Everybody didn't fight for this country. Everybody didn't fight in every war that this country has waged. Immigrants didn't build America. The fake Jews didn't build America. Illegal immigrants didn't build America. But ADOS, black people, built America. And if anything's free, it should be for us first. Because we built the fucking country. So I don't agree with socialism. He want to come over here and he want to run for political office and talk about socialism and give it to illegals and give it to his Jewish buddies, the fake Jews. Give them more free shit that they don't even need and that they didn't even earn. Meanwhile, he wants to forget us and not do anything specific for our community. That's fucking Bernie Sanders for you. And Democrats, the message again is plain and clear. And plain and goddamn simple. If you don't come up with a black agenda and tangibles, you're not getting our fucking vote. And Bernie Sanders sure as hell ain't getting a black vote. He's been canceled and he's even more fucking canceled. So that's all I got to say. Make sure you like, make sure you share, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I want you to drop a comment about this subject. I want to hear your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. And thank you for allowing me to share my views. Have a good evening.